Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Dish on Aging tip of the day. For those of you who are new to the Dish on Aging, my name is Dr. Maureen Sweeney. I am a clinical psychologist. I practice geropsychology in Bensalem, Pennsylvania. So I specialize in working with older adults or retired people. So today is Monday, September 13th. And for my tip of the day, I want to be talking about how much our world is changing. I talked on Thursday about how I'm noticing that some people people of all ages are having an increase in symptoms of anxiety and depression. Some of it because of all of these, the kind of new challenges that are coming up with the Delta variant. Today's tip of the day is twofold. The first is it's really good news, even though it's causing some to become unhappy. All of the mask and vaccination mandates that were announced last week, they are going to be very broad across the board, and this is going to be really good for our getting to the other side of this pandemic. President Biden talked about the mandates for every healthcare provider across the country, particularly any facility that receives federal, Medicare, Medicaid dollars. They must have all of their employees vaccinated. Also, all federal employees, any business that has more than 100 employees. So the reason why this is going to be good is it is going to contribute to bringing the COVID rates down in our communities, and that is going to allow for children to continue to attend school in person, and it is going to allow for more and more activities that we need. We need activity. It's going to allow for more of that to move forward, and I was so pleased yesterday that the football season was able to get started again. Go Eagles. The Eagles won, so that's a really good thing for us local Philadelphia area people. And so we're going to be making progress. Hopefully, that's the intention. And I really think that this is going to work in allowing us to continue to get to the kids to get to school, for us to get to work, for the healthcare system to do better with having fewer challenges because of the pandemic. With that being said, today's tip of the day has to do with our very dramatically changing world. I was talking with people over the weekend about the amount of change that has occurred in our society. By the way, today is it's the 15th month anniversary of basically the shutdown of the suburban and the Philadelphia area with the pandemic. So that all happened on Friday, March 13th, 2020, and here we are a year and a half later and making progress. We really are. We didn't get hit as much in this area with the Delta variant as other regions of the country did, and that is because we had been doing better. We were at about, I think, 60% of adults vaccinated just before the Delta variant came out, and now we're doing even better with that. And with that being said, we're having challenges this week with long-term care facilities, nursing homes, having outbreaks, and then that shuts down the buildings for family visits. The residents have to stay in their rooms. Little activity is being done, and that is so totally not good for anyone's mental health, whether they are a family member, whether they are a staff, whether they are a resident. And also, our changing world, the Congress is now considering that $1 trillion, I don't even know how many $1 trillion infrastructure bill. And that is going to have a huge impact on our long-term care kind of industry here in the United States. However that infrastructure bill moves forward, it is going to have a huge impact on options that are available for seniors in the years to come. It's pushing towards having more care being available at home. It's trying to get the direct care staff better or higher salaries. All kinds of benefits for seniors getting care in the community rather than having to go into nursing homes to receive care. And this could not happen at a better time because, gosh golly, in the last year and a half, I have seen just the quality of life of nursing home seniors has really backstepped. It's gotten really bad. So I encourage anyone, you got to start thinking about how you're going to get your care. When and if you need care, how are you going to get that in the community? That is going to be better for your emotional health. The problems of the last year and a half for nursing home residents has been the social isolation, disconnect, family and friends can't come visit. And then when you're in the building, when there's an outbreak, you have to stay in your room. And that has been along the continuum of care. Whether someone's in an assisted living, whether they are in a nursing home, whether they are in senior apartments, outbreaks in the communities and in the buildings have led to dramatic experiences of social isolation. And by the way, that's happening to people who are living in the community, in their own homes, especially if they live alone. This has been a huge challenge, and that is the reason why my tip of the day last Thursday was I want to encourage you all to do this, to try to get outside of your house every single day, whether it's to get in the car and just go to a park, or to get in the car and to go to the mall just to walk around, or if it's just to sit on your front step, or if it's to go pick up a friend, to go for a ride and enjoy the nice day out there. I want everybody to do anything and everything you can just to stay active and to leave the house. So the world is changing so very rapidly in response to this pandemic. We have new changes. I couldn't believe the headline. In New Jersey, a school district has to dismiss early today for a silly reason. They don't have enough bus drivers. I talked about last week how the Ben Salem Fall Festival was canceled because there isn't enough interest in vendors, and some of the local restaurants and vendors, they don't have enough staff. The understaffing in long-term care facilities is absolutely unbelievable. So we've had a lot of workers who have stepped back from the workforce, and in response to needing to be at home to provide the child care to their children, because some or most or many child care centers had closed during the pandemic, and certainly with the schools being closed. The good news is that we are into the second week of school locally, and so far so good. We're going to have to keep an eye out on the news that over the next week. We are seeing in Pennsylvania increases in COVID cases, not anywhere near where we were a year and a half ago. But what we are seeing is there are more cases among children, and that's something that we're going to be keeping an eye on. With the very fast change that we are experiencing in our communities, in our country, and in our world, as a psychologist, I want just to let you all know, if some of you are walking around feeling a little bit anxious or a lot anxious because the world might seem scary or we're out of our comfort zone, I want you to know that to be feeling anxious is a normal reaction. I found myself just today when I was at work, I'll be talking to people by this video, and I'll be taking notes as I'm talking, and then I have my list of things to do. And I found myself in halfway through the day just jotting down a note. Why am I anxious today? I just had just an unsettled feeling. And it's unusual for me. And usually, if I'm anxious, I know why. I'm nervous about staying on schedule. I'm nervous about, oh gosh, Medicare is making a change to their computer system, and I need to find out about that because I don't know anything about it. And so, but that's just a normal part of my day. It doesn't usually cause me to become anxious. And I think what it has to do with is this fast changing world. I spent the weekend trying to research why it is that I can't do a live stream. I don't have adequate internet access. So I kind of dove headfirst into Google searches about this, and I learned this crazy stuff about the internet. It's not just about your internet speed, and you can actually ask your internet, what is my speed right now, whether it's your phone. Let me get what the name of the speed is. It has an acronym. And Mbps. MB as in boy, P, and S. Has to do with internet speed. And there's two types of internet. There's download and there's upload. Download is when everything that's coming into you, so you're doing a Google search, maybe you're watching the football game on your television or your cable TV, that's download. Videos are upload. And usually the internet is providing, let's say, 20, whatever these bits per second of download to everyone, and that's good. And then 10 of upload. Okay? So I checked my internet speed and I got like 40 on the download, so that's really great. And that's what all the internet companies advertise. You know, they got all this high-speed internet. And then I have 2 or 3 on the upload. And to do a live stream for Zoom needs about 5. And to do a live stream, it needs somewhere between 5 and 10 to do a live stream, say, on a YouTube video. So I learned this week why it is I don't have enough internet strength. Then I figured out that's okay. I figured out how to get more. So I figured out how to do that. So I signed up to get more internet strength. So I'm going to see how life goes this week. But there's something else I learned. In 2019, there was like an internet law that was passed. And consumer advocates said this is not going to be good for the customers. And let me tell you what, I don't understand the law, but I learned a new word. It's called throttling. Okay? Some of you remember that term. I remember it for like, if you're really angry at someone, you have to be careful. And don't do this to anybody. It's, you go up and you shake them, you throttle them, you're mad at them, and it's probably abusive and it's a crime. So don't do it. But that's how I understand the word throttling. That same word is what some internet companies are doing because they're now allowed to do it. What throttling is you've signed up for high-speed internet. And let's say, I don't know, the city of Philadelphia is using a lot of internet watching the Eagles, and they're not using as much internet. Let's say it's a bye day for the Giants, so they're not using as much internet in New York. And so what the internet companies can do is they can start spreading around their internet so that it balances out. They can make more money that way. But guess what happens to my upload-download? Our internet strength goes down, and it might be by a point or two, but when you're trying to live stream from home like I am, then it goes down, it only has to go down a point or two, and that's the reason why my live streams were pixelating. And I know what you're all going to say, how do you know it wasn't something on your end? Because I spent the weekend troubleshooting it all, and I did tweak some things on my end. And it helped. It brought me up like a point or two, but it didn't bring me up above those thresholds. I know what I just explained is more than anybody ever wanted to know about the internet, But the reason why I'm telling you this is it's part of, oh, there's going to be a pun here, our fast changing world. And it's causing us to have to, I know myself, how many healthcare providers ever had a need in their career to know anything about well, I guess I thought of it as a nuance of internet. And we're in a different world now where providers are practicing from home, don't have access to that IT person at the clinic or at the hospital, and where I'm having to figure it out so that I can get information to you as the public. So who knows? Maybe that's why I had a little bit of anxiety. We call that when you're anxious and you're not sure why. The term for that in psychology is a free-floating anxiety. You're just anxious, you don't know why. And somebody might just be an anxious person. And so they're anxious all the time. They have just free-floating anxiety all the time. Most of us, if we're anxious, it's because we're worried about something. We have to go to the doctor today. We don't know how the blood pressure is going to be. We're waiting for the results of some medical tests. Those are not free-floating anxiety. That's anxiety in response to something specific we can identify. So, tip of the day, I want everyone just to take a deep breath like I just did, to be aware as we're going through the days and weeks ahead, that be patient with yourself. We can all expect that it will be a normal part of our day to have moments of anxiety, and we're not sure why. And I can tell you that it may have everything to do with, I want everybody to reflect when you're feeling anxious and you don't know why, everything new that you have experienced in that previous week or month. And also new things. If you've had 10 new things in the past 6 months, that's a lot. And the normal reaction is for us to be anxious until we get accustomed to what will be our new normal. So that's my tip of the day, to be patient with yourself. If you're feeling anxious, maybe for reasons you know why, maybe you don't know why, the reality is that when we have so many changes, and I want each one of you to stop and think, what in the past month have you had to learn about or think different about just because of the way our world is right now? I will frequently I'll receive telephone calls from people requesting appointments, and I'll explain I'm providing all video care, and they're like, not even the first appointment face-to-face? And that's how it was, the video care before the pandemic in some states, but not all states. And I said, well, no, I provide care to the most medically vulnerable people out there, and if I get in my car and even do the first appointment face-to-face, I risk exposing other people to COVID, so it's all video. And people will say to me, and then I say to them, I'll understand completely if they are not comfortable with that and they want to find a provider who provides face-to-face care. And people will say to me, oh, I guess we are in a changing world. Okay, the video's fine. And I want you to think back over the last month. How many experiences have you had? Can you count them on one hand, or do you need two? And also, things can be trivial. Like I think I'm getting my water bill through email rather than in the mailbox. That's trivial. Or they can be big time things. Like I'm going to be meeting a provider for the first time through a video, and I'm not sure if I'm even comfortable, but I'm going to move forward with it. So we're strong people. We will plow through. We have been through a lot, and we are going to just continue to grow and change and acknowledge that we may not want the changes that are happening. We didn't choose them. And we can acknowledge that. We might not have any control over it, but it can be healthy to acknowledge there's a lot of change. I would not have chosen any of it. And I guess it kind of makes sense that I am having moments of a little bit or a lot, moments of anxiety, and I may not even know why. So just do that mental check. Instead of I'm anxious, I don't know why. It's, kind of do the check. I'm not anxious. And why not? All right. So I might have just kind of rambled on a little bit. But tip of the day is, you know what? Let's be patient. Take a deep breath. We're actually, probably many of us are doing better than we realize in how we're handling the changes. And remember, the vast majority of us are good-hearted, loving people, and just wanting to be strong and supportive of other people, and get ourselves and our world into a better place. And so keep your focus on that. Thanks a lot, and I will see you on Thursday with the Dish on Aging tip of the day.